There is one very important thing you must get right. If you don't get this right, you're going to struggle. No amount of methods I can teach you or anyone else will produce you great results without it. So what is this one big thing you must have right? Well, here's a picture of a car. Of course you can see that's a car. As you can see, it's not one of the most appealing cars. It's a bit rough around the edges. It's not exactly a sports car or anything like that. Now, I don't know the real asking price of this car, but it's not, let me say that it's not going to be an expensive car. But if you try to sell it at a high price, say in my country, that would be, say, £1,000, or depending on what it is in your country, I would really struggle trying to sell a car like this and try to get £1,000. No amount of marketing, advertising, or a cleverly worded sales pitch is going to work. Even if I did sell it in the end, it would be a real big struggle, right? Now compare that to trying to sell a car like this, especially if you were trying to sell it for a much lower price than its real value. Now, I don't know the real value of this car, but say, for example, it was £1,000 or £100,000, $100,000, and you wanted to sell it for, say, 20,000 or 30,000 or whatever, right? But a lot lower than the real price. It's a beautiful looking car, isn't it? So would you find it as hard to sell this car as the first car? Well, of course not. It's going to be a lot easier to sell this car. I mean, it's very appealing. Lots of people are going to want this car, especially if it's at a low price. So marketing and advertising and methods that you use to promote this car are going to work very well indeed, right? So what's this got to do with selling books on Amazon or anywhere else? Well, it's this. Your car, your product that you're trying to sell is your book. Now, when I say a book, I don't mean a physical book with covers or even an electronic book with a nice picture cover design, cleverly worded, or, nice grammar, it's all correct and everything. All those things are important. But what makes a good book? See, the secret is, the one thing you must have is a good book. Not necessarily a book up there with Stephen King or one of the greats, but it needs to be a good book. And by a good book, I mean it must have good content. Okay, so if it's a story, it needs to be a story that readers love and are truly entertained by. If it's a fiction book, non-fiction book, shall I say, then it must have lots of interesting information that readers are really enjoying learning. Or if it's something like step by step, showing you how to build a website or do something else, then it must be a book which gives the reader real results. It's all about what the content of your book is. So this is the one thing you must get right. Now, when you've got this right, then the marketing methods and advertising and all the things I'm going to show you, which I know works, I've done it personally, then it'll work for you. But not only that, the book will sort of sell itself as well by one of the best forms of advertising known, which is this, face-to-face advertising. It's free. But to get it, you must have a good book. You're not going to get it if it's rubbish. If your book doesn't have great content, you probably will get, the people advertising your book for you, but it will be a negative, not a positive one. So people will tell people about your book when they meet up with them face to face like this. Or, of course, also there's social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all those places. You'll see people talking about books, or even forums on websites, like Book Hub and places like that, goodreads.com. Those are all sites that people share their opinion about books on. And also, of course, don't forget the book reviews left on Amazon. This is a way that readers will share their opinion of the book, whether that be in their opinion it was a good book, or if in their opinion it was a bad book. You've got to remember that not everybody is going to like your book. I mean, look at this book here, the reviews. It's got a 1-star there, and someone else has got a 5-star. And as you can see by the bars on the left-hand side, it's got quite a lot of 5-star and 4-star reviews. So I would say this book is safely a really good book, but not everybody will like it. And that's the way it is. So a really good way as well of coming up with the idea before you write a book is to ask this question. And it really works. It's a powerful question. So ask yourself, what book would I like to read? So if it's a storybook, what sort of story would you like to read? And then go ahead and write that book. So, I'm doing this on the fly. I haven't prepared this. So say, well, what storybook would I love to read? Well, I don't know. On the hop there a bit, but say, I'd like something like a children's adventure where a group of children, or young teenagers all get lost together, and then they come across this boat on this lake and eventually decide that to survive they've got to get across to this island. So they go over in the boat and there's all magical people over there and all strange things, that sort of thing. I'd love that sort of book. That's very quick, and you could probably do a better job yourself. Or if it's a non-fiction book, it might be sort of like, say, a book written by a successful, another Udemy instructor who's had great success by a formula that they followed, writing their course descriptions or Udemy promotion videos or something like that. And it's a formula he's teaching in the book, which shows how he does his, and he's got great success by doing it. So that's the sort of book I would like to read. You may want to read a different book. Now, like I said before, you might say, well, not everybody's going to like what I read. Well, that's very true, but it doesn't matter what you write about. Not everybody's going to like it. It's just a fact of life. So the key thing I want you to take away here is you must have a good book. And what I mean by a good book, of course, is good content. So there's also something else, of course, is what I've had to mention in this course and discuss with you, because it's also very important to getting book sales, and it made a huge difference to the amount of sales I got on Amazon, and that's without any marketing or any of the stuff that I'm going to teach you in this course. So I'll be talking about that in the next lecture.